I've got no clue if it's on or not. This is so difficult. Okay, testing 1 2 3. As always, with testing here, I'm not even sure if I see somebody. Can you see me? I don't even know if it's live or not. Okay, let me test something out. Let me test something out. I think it's live. Okay, it looks like the earnings information is not out yet. Some traction on AMD minus 0.59. I'm here still trying to set up my cameras, of course. But hey, fear not. We're here to stay. We're here to enjoy. If I get my camera right. Hey, working. Camera's working. Camera's working. Camera's working. No. Okay. It's live. It's live. See, Daniel said it's live. Yes, you're live. I'm glad I did not say anything rude or you know, it's been a while since I've gone live. A year. New kit, new tool, new room, and things could go wrong. But hey, the whole point of today is the AMD earnings. Yeah, I have been on Twitter. I've just went on a blast on how earnings of, in fact, you know, it's quite jealous of Palantir earnings today because they've done well. The stock price itself is incredible, over $100. Yeah, I remember a good 2 years ago, Palantir was 9. I bought Palantir at 9. Went up to 18. I thought, overvalued, buy trigger, it's overvalued, sell it off. And then it keeps going up to 40, overvalued, 60, overvalued. It kept going. Yesterday it was over 100. Regardless of how much they make per quarter, 25 million, compared to AMD, who's been making 7.5 billion today, are on the same value. Fundamentals, books, all my fundamental books, where are they? All books here, yeah. Might as well just chuck it in the bin. And funny enough, Duolingo, I've got a tab that says Duolingo. It's at all-time high. Yeah, I am not joking. Duolingo, it's at all-time high. Anybody own Duolingo stocks here? Duolingo stocks. Yeah, it's at all-time high. I believe it's from the earnings or something. I just got a text saying Duolingo all-time high. And one of these stocks that people speak about, one of the fastest growth stocks that can be found. And yeah, sitting at $386. I think they should be in for a stock split. If the company ever goes for further expansion, trying to raise more cash for other apps, they need to stock split or increase the number of stock holdings rather than try to sell more shares. Stock split will be great for them just now. Let's do a lingo. Okay, so let's go back to AMD and see if anything's starting to happen. Investors relation. So I just want to say, anybody out there still holding lots of AMD stocks? I think more people will be holding more Tesla, Nvidia, Palantir. Those are the popular ones. I think there's been quite a seismic shift into Tesla stocks in the last few weeks. This, regardless of institutional selling, I believe there are lots of retailers been buying back in, despite the share price. That's what you've seen, but it's been up quite a lot ever since. So, you know, let me just get to the Investors AMD Relations website. So I believe Lisa Su will not be speaking until around about the next 45 minutes. So I think everybody's still trying to refresh the screen, unless unless someone on Twitter's got it first through Bloomberg Terminal, which is sometimes a lot quicker. And until then, we're not going to see anything drastically change. Okay. Any other stocks that we talk about? DarkSeek, it's still the hot topic. I've just checked on the Hugging Face website. You know, everybody's kicking off really fast. You know, Mistral, language model from France, the team, they've just released 24 billion parameters small version which can fit on a laptop. That's pretty impressive. DarkSeek has another 7 billion parameters one coming out. And yeah, so all this hype that people speak about, one thing that people don't realize, when I spent a whole weekend on large language model looking at why it's so important to put on laptops. So your MacBooks and your new revision of your new Ryzen laptops, you can run your own large language model. This was what Lisa Su said 3 earnings ago when she was demonstrating in her earnings on how you can put a large language model into one of the Ryzen laptops. I think she's trying to sell the fact that developers will be doing loads of coding and different creative tools being built in a portable MacBook or portable desktop laptop. So that's why she was gunning for it about 3 earnings ago, and I can understand now. So now Dell is coming on the bandwagon with the new NVIDIA, the new AMD, trying to sell commercial and also retail laptops, desktops, capable of running smaller large language model device. So you can operate and work your data locally. 6 months ago, 9 months ago, you thought, we don't need that. We're happy with OpenAI. But now you come think about it and what OpenAI does with our data. It's sensible to have your own workable system. And there's really some smart guys out there who can build enormous things, websites that can build tools, calculators, engineering equipment from DeepSeek or the new Mistral, and then automatically deploy it. So I think we're starting to see a seismic shift of what we can do large language model, and it's pretty interesting going forward. Which horse will win the race? We don't know. We know that NVIDIA is still the most powerful one out there, but really need to see how Intel and AMD will survive through this rut. So 5% up close. Daniel has reported 5% up close. So I've been obviously speaking away, not looking in the background. Thank you, Daniel. And something has come up. I wish I've got Bloomberg terminals sometimes, and I think there's a couple of guys out there who's got proper Bloomberg terminals, and I can see 3.99%. I think something's out. Let me refresh my screen, and let's get on this screen here. Okay, maybe Twitter will be a great source of information sometimes. AMD. Okay, so 128.6%. What is happening? Why am I so slow? Why is everyone getting news? I am so behind. Okay, come on, guys. Okay, Dimitri's not sharing anything yet. AMD record revenue record by Demcar Trades 57 seconds ago. Okay. So let me read. Record earnings. So the revenues come out now. Okay, we can see 7.6 billion. I think the target was about 7.5. So I've beaten it. I'm not jumping. Gross margin has increased over another 4% compared to last quarter, 1% up. I can see net income down 37, diluted earnings per share 38. Now I'm not. I like this break, but I'm not seeing that something is jump out. I'm missing something here. Financial result for quarter 7.7 billion gross 57. So operating margins increase. Record 25.8. So as expected, the 2024 record is broken. So it's more than expected. So buy trigger will be updated. I'll be updating the buy trigger. I don't know how much we change a percentage because 25% is the expected growth. Are we moving into 26? Are we moving to 26? So we want to hear data center, and I want to hear about their desktop. I want to hear about their embedded system. I want to see, but I'm not seeing it here yet. So transformation year so let's wait for more data. But I can see a lot of things happening on AMD. So let me go back to the website. Hey, as you can see, guys, yeah, you can see quite clearly that I'm quite a rookie in this live stream. I don't know how some people do it. Like Meet Kevin, yeah, there's one guy, Meet Kevin. He does all his videos all on straight on the setup, and that guy is welcome. I mean, his stock pick skills ain't great, but he's very commended for the skills that he's developed over time. That's somebody I do look up to in terms of broadcasting. Okay, I'm still looking for information here while trying to chat through. So AMD, I'm trying to refresh. It's gone up by 2.26%. So I don't know what's happening. Who is fast and who is slow? Let's go to the investors website to see any updates. Full report results are true. Okay. So now the details true. 7.7 billion. I think they have rounded up. Gross margin 51%. Operating income was 871 million. Net income was 482. Diluted earnings per share 0.29. What is the non-dual? So the dilute earnings per share was 1.0. So they beat it by 0.01. So they're beaten, but not jumpingly, explosively as expected. EPS. So non-GAAP and GAAP. So revenue is up 14%. So it's okay. Now here we go. Segment summary. Data center revenue in the quarter recorded was 3.9 billion, up 69%. Okay, data center revenue record 12.6 billion, increase of 94%. That's for the entire year. Client segment revenue in the quarter record 2.3 billion, 58%. Okay, so it's as expected, but nothing jumps out. So gaming segment quarter down 59%. Okay, embedded revenue this quarter 923 million, down 13% year on year. So lesser than expected. I think they've managed to balance it out. It was about 20% in the beginning. 24 PR high continuous expansion. IBM announced plan to deploy AMD Instinct. Remember IBM, yeah? Was it IBM that creeped up 15% last week? Just after the whole DeepSeek saga, IBM was the one that rocketed up quite well. So IBM has announced plan to deploy. Volta and AMD announced strategic collaboration. The Instinct MI300X accelerator and ROM-C open source. Alpha announced to leverage AMD Instinct accelerator. Fujitsu and AMD announced strategic partner to develop more sustainable computing infrastructure. I think this is through the El Capitan. I think AMD, this supercomputer El Capitan, maybe they're trying to expand further on for research and development. Okay. Deliver robust AI stack for the ecosystem. ROM-C 6.3. So I'm not a software developer guy, but I have to rely on lots of guys on Twitter to give me information. And we're still on that borderline. I don't know what 6.0 means or 6.3. Maybe I need to dig a bit deeper. But folks are always complaining how CUDA is way ahead. 2 generations ahead, that's what they call it. 2 generations ahead. So ROM 6.3 maybe starting to move along. AMD shares an update 2025 plan for ROM-C software stack to be enable easier adoption and improve out-of-box support for inferencing and training application. They're chasing. Oh, this is a juicy one. Dell and AMD announced Ryzen AI Pro processor. Copilot. Come on, seriously. Do you guys, does any of you use Copilot like day to day at work? That's the thing, Microsoft and Copilot. I spoke to our IT infrastructure manager, and Copilot was on free trial run for like 3 months. And then when Copilot, when the contract came for renewal on a number of Copilots, and the price was skyrocketed. It would be cheaper to everybody get their own ChatGPT than Copilot. And it was hard to embed with different softwares, even though we're all using Microsoft Teams. It was difficult. It was difficult using Copilot, and I don't know what is Microsoft doing behind the scene, not trying to make it work. Sorry, that's my moan about Copilot. Anyway, expand broad consumer portfolio. AI 300 again, Ryzen. I mean, Ryzen's a great product, but everyone's focused on the Apple M4 chip. Yeah, everybody's focused on the Apple M4, Apple M5. So sometimes it overshadows the whole Ryzen processor. Have you gone to work and seen a laptop or desktop that you use for high performance and it's called a Ryzen? No, it's either you use a Mac or use an IBM Lenovo. So I don't know how AMD needs to break through to that ranks. Okay. Okay. AMD extended its partnership high performance HPC, enabling the most powerful and most energy efficient supercomputer in the world. El Capitan Computer at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory became the second AMD supercomputer to surpass this barrier, placing number 1 on top list. Good. They're doing something for a change. CES announced more Ryzen, more software. I am not seeing anything that jumps out, guys. I'm not seeing. So how's the share price doing? How is that share price doing? Let me get my... How is the share price doing? Okay, AMD stock. Is it up or is it down? I don't know. Oh my God, it's down 3.39% as we speak. I think I've seen some comments coming through. So I believe out. Can you discuss? Yep. Won't be surprised CMD below 99 at some point. Yeah, I guess so. It is. Yeah. Did you guys notice? Did you guys also notice? Yeah. Oh, before I share this is. The share price will still fluctuate until Lisa Su comes out and speak, and then the question time, which is in like half an hour's time. So the share price now jumping out down is everybody's speculation and trying to diagnose the data. But me looking at the table, 2025 so far, it's on target. It's on target as expected. And even if I do my valuation trigger 179, it is as expected. So there's not really much of a change, but it is severely undervalued as we speak just now. And if the price doesn't want to go up, we really need some analysts to bump up the price, or some fund managers to buy in because they missed on other stocks. So that's what we need. We need the liquidity flowing, or else there's no way to push out the share price regardless of how the trigger value is. Yeah, so the other interesting facts I was going to share is, do you know that AMD is a 118 on close, and also NVIDIA was at 118 on close? So with a 1-to-1, it's like Bitcoin and Ethereum on 1-to-1. It's quite strange, yeah? It's quite a strange one. Okay, so let me just show you, because it is no change on that. If you give me 2 seconds, let me go to the buy trigger. So, okay, you can see the buy trigger. Let me go to AMD. Just to explain, folks, yeah, why I am raving, honestly, it's not because I like Lisa or AMD is my big fan. I based it all, yeah. I based it on purely on data, purely on data, on why I see. So as you can see, my buy trigger is 139 because of a specific level that I've seen. My valuation here is 179. So I put all my EPS data on my database here. And the 2024, this is the one that I should update. This actually should go up a little. It should be 2.33 now, if my mental maths is right, because it's increased by 1.09. And 2024, yeah, with the growth, I need to check the growth for future. 2024, if you can see this highlight here, it's at 174. That means at the end of the year, end of 2024, all the earnings all accumulated in 2024. The share price itself, based on the 25% growth, based on the last 5 years history, and based on the next 5 years up to 28 next 4 years. This is the value where it should sit at the end of this year. And if it keeps progressing as it goes along, this is the trajectory, providing they keep the growth at 25% growth, which is a high growth company. That's what AMD is. This is why I keep banging on saying the value should be at 174. Even if you take the value the year before, yeah, it's at 139. Okay, even if I thought, I'll be super, Alex, you'll be super strict, and I take the value back, it's still at 139. And today we're sitting at 118. So I cannot understand why. And it's not like they're not beating estimates. It's not like they're not beating the target. She set the target, Lisa, and she hits it. She doesn't hit it high, but she hits exactly, because it's not easy to change every single quarter. And last quarter was 6 billion. Now she's about 7.5 billion. She's increased by 1 billion. But it's not enough for Wall Street. It is not enough for Wall Street. It is not enough to break this barrier. We're lower than the buy trigger. We're way lower than valuation. The growth is still there. That's something I fail to understand. Okay, it's something that I'm not here trying to shill here. I'm trying to provide data facts, but that's why it's not moving. But I'm looking at the comments on FedBH. Any reason why AVGO is popping? Is it popping just now? 2 seconds, let me check. Yes, AVGO is moving up, yeah. Why? Let me just get the screen here. Okay, AVGO is popping up. Okay, this could be two reasons why it's going up. One, because I think was it Facebook during the earnings, they were saying we're going to start doing our own custom chips, because Facebook is the biggest capex spender on large language model chips, like Blackwell especially. And now obviously Mark Zuckerberg owns the biggest one, 100,000 cluster in combination. So when Mark came out and says we need to try this custom chip, and guess who is, and Google is trying the TPU as well, and guess who's the best designer? It's Broadcom, yeah. Broadcom on a custom chip ASIC design, and that's where they are. That's why they're popping. Maybe this is based on what AMD is not pushing higher, maybe based on AMD's data. I really don't know. But 4% afterwards hours is a lot. Okay, it's a lot on a 4%. So let's see. Okay, it's fluctuating. At one point, it's at 128. It popped at one point. Now it's at 155. So we're all waiting, hovering at 3%. There's a bit of a tug of war here just now. Wait until Lisa speaks. So let me come back on this machine to see if I can get the system. See all this planning, which is like no planning from my end. See if I can get on the teleconference queue just now. Too many screens. Earnings release PDF, webcast, earnings, audio. Oh my god, I need to think. So I'll pause for a bit and keep your questions coming through, guys. I will come and check in a second while I try. I'm not from Afghanistan. I'm not on the sell side, but I'll submit anyway. Is it live? It shows live. Nope, it's not ready yet. I think we still have to. Normally I hear music in the background, but for some reason I can't hear anything on the thing. So where I am now is on the... Oh, it does play when I switch screen. Yep, so I guess we have to just wait until the earnings come about. I guess we just have to fill the gap, but let's go back to any questions for anybody who wants to ask away. But obviously I need to switch off the screen before everybody starts reading. So any other question? But so Shard, as I believe the numbers are out, can you discuss? So we spoke about the numbers. The numbers hasn't really jumped out at me. I was hopeful that she perhaps could hit 7.8 billion, but the numbers didn't jump. It's about 7.6, 7.8. So it's hovering down below just now. Like Rick says, AMD beat on everything except the AI GPU estimate, which is only the Wall Street. Yeah, exactly. It's AI GPU. That's only what they care. Yeah, especially when they see decline in the embedded and they see decline in gaming. They just don't like it because they want to see an exponential growth in data center. But that's not the way it works just now. Yeah, so wealth builders, I believe AVG is popping because of Google CapEx spending. Yep, he's right. They announced 75 billion CapEx instead of the analysts of 57 billion. Absolutely right. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed, and also Google also announced they're buying more Blackwells as well. So Google is spending from top to bottom, from bottom to top CapEx, just trying to get ahead of the game. But honestly, get a vote. I mean, do you guys use Gemini? Do you guys use Gemini on your own day-to-day job? I mean, honestly, what is your favorite large language model that you use at work? For me, I still got about 2 weeks left on ChatGPT. But I use Grok a lot nowadays. I use Grok on a daily basis, and I don't know if you realize that Grok today you can actually customize your Grok. You can set your presets on how Grok needs to know you, or how Grok needs to respond. Does he need to respond in a poetic way, or does he need to respond in an engineering way? You can set that in the customized tools now on Grok. So that pushes me even more to save myself $25 every month on ChatGPT, because I paid them since the first day, and I use it for work. I use it for all elements of work. I create little prompts to help me speed up the process of work checking, or work search, or vendor search, or suggestion for different proposal. That's like super useful. That's a game changer last 2 years. I'm not talking about the whole AI hype, but it's all about the workplace. And I remember about, let's say, when the first 6 months it started, everybody uses it, and you could spot who uses it because a lot of emoji that comes out, yeah. And you could see like the tone, and people were quite ashamed when they had ChatGPT on their desktop. When you walk over to someone and he's got ChatGPT on, they'll switch, they switch away. But now you go to everybody's desktop, they've got different grok and perplexity all on the desktop, trying to work their way as fast as they can on time management wise. And that's pretty impressive. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but that's where. Okay, let's go back to the thing. We're still waiting for AMD's earning. 10 p.m. So we're talking about another good 24 minutes to go. It's 10 p.m. I'm 26:36 just now. So let me go back and revisit. I think they've got PDF slide. We can go into the PDF slide. This is my favorite part. It's finally out. That's the part that we need to have a look. This is the one, folks. Fourth quarter full earnings. Okay, let's go. Now we've got the Word version we went through. Let's go to the slides version. Leadership Foundation, PI, Breath Tips Portfolio, Open Proven Software Ecosystem. You know what? They should have done this part of Open Proven Software Ecosystem 9 months ago, yeah? Or this time last year, and we wouldn't be here today. AMD wouldn't be dropping 44% if they did this a year ago. Just have to showcase they're doing something about it. Put more people on it, go higher. Deep collaborative partner, I think this is the emphasis, as we saw the scripted word. Large growth opportunity, data center. It's always 4, yeah. If you know AMD, slightly different to NVIDIA. It's always the 4. It's the data center, which is the MI350, the MI330X, the client, which the Ryzen, the gaming, which was the showcase, the main runner horse, but now gaming has gone down, and embedded as well. Embedded is the one where they bought the other company to grow another 1 billion, but now embedded has declined under 1 billion. You know, when they first bought that company, what's the company's name again? Someone remind me. They came in at 1.1, 1.2 billion additional to their portfolio, and now they're running at 0.9 billion. So that's quite a kick in the nuts for AMD, because you know what they spend, about 15, 20 billion in the portfolio to buy a company that's given them 1 billion and now declining. So that's one of the kicker in the embedded system sector. Okay, so let's go to the data center innovation. El Capitan, she speaks proudly of it. Instinct MI300X, which they claim to be running on a bigger bigger RAM capacity. AMD ROM-C M. I don't remember them putting on last earnings, but they are here. 613 ROM-C, they speak about it. I don't even remember seeing them putting a graphic on. Finally, it's here. Why did you not do this 6 months ago? x86 ecosystem advisory. Okay. Now they speak about CES. Now they're doing this whole marketing. I think they spend a lot of money in marketing. You know, Nvidia and Jensen, yeah. He spends a lot of marketing. He's got these people all behind him trying to refine, retune. That's why he sounds like a great salesman. I'm sure he's got a huge team behind it he spends, and I can see the transformation in AMD in this particular earnings. But they should have done this 3 quarters ago. I mean. Okay, Max Pro Series, Ryzen AI, Ryzen, Dell. Now they put their partners, Dell Technology, HP, Lenovo, Asus. Okay, so here you go. Revenue, last quarter, 6.2 billion to 7.7 billion. Guys, that is record-breaking 7.7 billion, and it's a total of 1.5 billion increase from last quarter. Imagine you go to work here, and your boss says, in the next 3 months, we want to be here. We want to be another 1.5 billion. Everybody, we need to do that. which company can do it? I know Nvidia is exceptional. They've done it, breaking year and year. But to set a target and to achieve it on target, it's remarkable. It's impressive compared to places that we work here. Increased 24 billion data center client in 3 quarters. They make such a drastic change. Gross margin now from 51 get non-GAAP to 54. Wow. 47 Q4 last year to 51 gross margin. That's a huge increase. Gross margin 51%. So for every dollar they collect, 51% is it's your margin. You've taken all the expenses, 49% expenses taken away, 51% is what you make. That's pretty impressive. But again, are these analysts seeing any of this? Are they acknowledging any of this? Let me refresh my screen. Yeah, are they acknowledging any of these? No. Look, it's dropped to 114, 4.6%. There, no one's acknowledging this at all. No one is acknowledging this. What can I say? I can rarely show the data and facts all day, but nobody's acknowledging. Operating income of 0.9 billion, non-GAAP 2 billion. Earnings per share, we look at the non-GAAP one because the GAAP one includes, I think, because of the buyer of the other company. When you buy a couple of companies, you get expenses, and you need to negate those expenses and incorporate. That's why people always look at the non-GAAP 1.09. So, summary, profit and loss. Okay, this is what pisses a lot of people off. Have you seen that graphics that you see on Twitter every time? That chart, and you see the little green, and Nvidia's got the big fat green chunky net profit. This is the one where AMD loses out on. The net income this quarter is 482 million. They don't even hit that billion mark, and they're actually quarter on quarter. They're actually down 37%. Earnings per share is actually down 30. No, that's the non-GAAP. Let's look at that's a GAAP. We need to look at the non-GAAP. Sorry. So on the non-GAAP, the net income is up 18%, which is 1.7 billion. Earnings per share is 1.09, up 18%. Quarter on quarter, year on year up 42%. Earnings per share up 42% in 1 year. And the share price is lower today than last year. Yeah, is that correct? The share price is lower today compared to last year. If I put 1 year, yeah. A year ago, we were sitting around about 174, yeah, when AMD was making 42% less. And now our share price is actually, is it 42% less? No, the share price is 31% less. Despite the fact net income is 42% here. Relaxed. It's hard to impress, huh? It's really hard to impress. Palantir comes up with, sorry to be banging on Palantir, I know some of you guys might own Palantir stocks. Palantir comes in with record-breaking, worth more than Disney, McDonald's, only making 800 million, and they are up 25%. And AMD maintaining that reputation, maintaining the quality, down 4%. There's nothing much we can do. There's nothing much we can do. Segment data center 3.8. So okay, this is the big one here. This is GAAP, not GAAP. So data center is 3.8, quarter on quarter up 9, year on year up 69%. Okay, up 69% in a year to make all those changes, all those design up. Operating income up, which is a good thing. You need operating income to go up. Nothing goes up without getting more expensive. Client is up 58% year on year. Gaming is down 59%. Embedded is only down 13%. So it's almost to the low teens now, which is a good thing. Hopefully they can turn embedded around again. Embedded in terms of like hopefully robotics and self-driving cars and all the computer onboard computing that's needed. The 7 nano, 8 and 9 nanometer chip, the largest size ones. And hopefully they bring traction in again to grow that. Because inflation was one that high inflation was the one that hit the gaming and embedded really, really badly. And hopefully with things stabilizing down, consumerism coming back, hopefully embedded comes back. But the real thing in AMD is no one wants to see, embedded growing is great, it's fine, okay, but they want to see that data center, in comparison to Nvidia. That's what people do. People compare. You need to compare. They like to compare the LeBron James and Michael Jordan, even though they're all in a whole different genre, they want to compare. You cannot stop that. They want to compare Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. They want to compare. That's what happens when you try to compare and find who's the best goal. And this is what happens here. And AMD is still ever living in the shadow of NVIDIA. So record breaking, 22 to 25 billion, still not good enough for investors, down by 4% as I see there. Operating income. So what I want to see is the forecast. Okay, I've not seen the forecast yet. That's what I'm trying to scroll as fast as I can. Balance sheet term Q4. Okay, that's the cash. I don't see no buybacks. No expected buybacks. Revenue up. Okay, I want to see what's in Q1, guys. Come on, Q1. Where is it? Gaming, are we expected to go up? No, gaming is declining. Embedded down by 30%. So financial outlook. Q1 25 revenue 7.1 billion. That's up. I think it was 6.5. So the Q1 forecast is actually higher than expected. I believe it's 6.5 here. I believe the forecast, I think I saw Beth's tweet. She says about 6.5 for Q1. It actually drops because Q1s tend to drop. But the revenue there says 7.1, so it's actually up. Is it plus minus 300 million? Gross margin will be 54% in Q1. It's going to be even more, guys. Look. Operating expenses 2.1 billion. So that's pretty good. The financial outlook for Q1 is pretty good. It's 7.1 billion. Previously, I believe it was 6.6, 6.5. Okay, gross margin is increasing from 51 to 54%. Something's improved drastically there. Dilute share counts, I don't see any buyback, so it's still 1.64. So Q4 summary, record revenue 7.7 billion, which is great. I think 7.54, 7.7. Data up 69. Gross margins 51%. EPS. Yeah, so that forecast is pretty impressive. So I don't think it's still impressing the streets, huh? Is it? If I refresh, is anything gonna happen? Is anything gonna happen when I refresh? No, it's going even lower. It's going even lower. What can we do? Despite of the we're sitting here thinking, what's Lisa's gonna say? What's she gonna say? She's got literally 13 minutes to line up her cue cards. She's got 13 minutes to line up her cue cards now to hear. So let's get in. So I guess in the next 13 minutes we can speak about other stocks while I line up my screen. Fiscal 4th year. It's live. It's not. We got 13 minutes. Okay. So I'll just go back to the screen to see if anybody's got any comments they want to see. So yeah, so we are on. So we are here. 12 minutes left. For those who have just joined, earnings beaten. Forecast looks great on Q1. Margin is growing, but there's no way to impress the streets because now we're sitting here down about 5%. So that's the recap of where we are just now. Okay, so let's go to Twitter to see what's the deal, what's everyone's thoughts. It'd be quite interesting to see what everyone thinks going forward. Yep, so Sarah is not happy. AMD reversed the cost, now down 3%. Okay, yeah, not great, huh? Not great, painful, down 113 on the day. So Quartz here, revenue up. Look, very nice chart by Quartz. So you can see 3.9 billion on the data center or ramping up. That is what you want from a growth stock. So you want profits, you want growth, and it's still not good enough. And I think AMD is still the best alternative to NVIDIA, according to Wedbush Security. Even Dan himself is not coming to Wedbush to talk about it. He sends Matt Bryson on the case. John trades down 2% after great earnings. So 7.54 expected will be beat by 7.66, or they round it up to 7.7 adjusted earnings, but we're still down 2%. In fact, we're down 5%. So I'm just wondering if Beth has got anything to say before the earnings. So 90 minutes ago, AMD delivered over 5 billion in Instinct GPU revenue in 2024. For Q1 AMD guidance 7.1 billion. I think she was the one that updated us that for Q1 it should be 6.5, so it's actually up. Okay, but see, some report at 7.6. So nope, the streets are not impressed. I'm sure I'm gonna get lots of people screaming at me on that. Sarah, I'm sorry, it's not up today. So how many minutes have we got left? 20. We've got 10 minutes to run and we don't see any movements. So let's go to the buy trigger database and see where we can save it and make ourselves feel good. Okay, so AMD, I will up the AMD. Yeah, I was gonna speak about Uber. Uber's been down quite a bit before, yeah, and now they're up 69. They've been roaring from 63 to 67. So let's go on this screen and look at Uber. I am liking Uber lately. Okay, I'm gonna move it from this chart. We speak about it later. Okay, so if you can see this chart, yeah, Uber, this is my long-term chart. So this double red lines, which I normally occasionally draw on a bullish market cycle, this has been, I believe, drawn for the last 2 years now. And Uber has been going up and down. I've been trading it. I don't like it when it goes above. So there are times when I've taken profit and coming down. So at this point, I've entered Uber around about this point here, as you guys can see, yeah. Round about the 60. I know I bought it there, it dropped. I let it go after that bad earnings because of the death cross. But when it started hitting this support level, I went in again, and I think I'm starting to see the formation. If you guys can see on Uber, there's going to be a golden cross if this momentum proceeds. Yeah, if this momentum proceeds, if you can see this momentum, if that momentum proceeds, if this thing goes up, if you see my yellow, if it starts going up this way, okay, maybe I use black. If it starts going up this way and this thing comes down, that is where the cross will be, round about just before March, or the earnings, or it might start breaking through, and we will be seeing this zone for Uber again. So that's why I like it. I bought it round about this zone, round about this area. I've already accumulated as much as I can. I'm just riding the wave, hoping to go into that vicinity there. Okay, so okay, so what else? What are the other charts that we should be looking at? So Uber, is it still good to buy? We're quite close. My valuation 116. 116 is let me show you. 116 is a price for, again, IV24. That means is if we close out the earnings for Uber as expected, we hit the target, then Uber should be at the 116 level. And if the forecast growth rate maintains the same year, we'll be on a nice trajectory. But that's where I'm going to lock it in. I'm not going to buy more beyond 116. All the accumulation will happen below 116. So that's why the buy trigger, it's a nice zone to buy. And the valuation, if you still can DC up to the topping frothy point, and then just don't do anything after that. It's like you, back to Palantir, it's like you buying Palantir. You bought at 9 all the way to 40, lock it, don't do anything, let the rest run, and there you are. That's for Uber. I like it. But Uber gets hit by that sentiment each and every time where Tesla release about something about robo-taxis, and people think that if robo-taxi goes up from Tesla and Uber comes down, that's that trade that's going on. I think it's an algo that's going on in somewhere in the background. Okay, I'm just looking conscious. We've got 6 minutes to go before Lisa's get on the show. So yeah, Tesla. So Alex, what do you think about Tesla? If you realize, back then, I never go back into Tesla. Yeah, I mean, I was before President Trump came in about 3 months, and I did my Tesla valuation. And back then, Tesla valuation 90, I pushed the buy trigger to 145, and it never came close. It was way overpriced. So what I did for Tesla is I did a PU, like an alternate universe. I call it the peril universe. PU means peril universe. What if robo-taxis and everything came in? So I rejigged the whole EPS, and I still came to a growth of 26%. I'm trying to push it. If robo-taxi came in 26 or move it to 25, push the valuation 325 and 320. But obviously when I bought it around about the 350, 360. I had to buy just after the election. And so I need to rejig, but I am hoping somebody smart out there is going to give me numbers that I can put into my calculation. See if you try to rejig. And it's hard. I've tried. But Tesla is one of my go-to stocks. If I do badly in something, I risk transfer to Tesla. I think I did it for Micron last earnings. I dropped Micron, and went all and sold and went to Tesla. And when I got free cash, I bought Micron on the side again when Micron was bottoming. So Tesla is like that bucket where, you know, you got your broken toys and it goes into that bucket. So Tesla, for some reason, is my broken toys target. So I'm not sure for the AMD. I'm going to wait for the earnings, whether it's going to, my Tesla, my broken toys bucket is going to grow because of that. Okay, let's pick another stock. Let's see, is anybody's got a stock that you want me to pick? I am conscious on thing. Music's actually quite relaxing. Yeah, the music's quite relaxing. I've got my iPad's gone off. Let me see if they are on. Nope. We have got 4 minutes left to go. So let's choose a buy trigger again. Okay, buy trigger. Oh yeah, one of them that I like is Salesforce. Yeah, Salesforce I like. Weird news on Salesforce lately. So Salesforce, just before the end of the year, I got a bit of an insider from a friend. Okay, on Twitter he says, Alex, Salesforce is great. Buy trigger is great. You believe in it? Yeah, I believe in it. Yeah, I think it's great because of the technical analysis. My buy trigger back then it was like 220, 250, and I bought a lot at 220. And he says, I'll share something with you. He says, yeah, so Salesforce, not public, but they're hiring, massive hiring, lots of sales people to sell the new to the new tool to the world, you know. And that's where Mark Bianoff went selling, just launching loads of his attacks on Microsoft, and then the information shared, I kept pushing on buy trigger. Guy said, you know, you need to get it, or else it's going to rocket. And I'm glad I stuck with it. I'm glad I stuck with I stuck with Salesforce, and now it's growing. I'm holding. I'm not selling anymore because Salesforce is one of those stocks which I've always wanted to buy, but it's way over. It was like 400 at one point, and my valuation band was like 220, 250. And then when it came down, I just had to grab some. So valuation for me, buy trigger is 391. Buy trigger 310, 18% growth, quite impressive. And we haven't actually realized their new tools, their new expansion yet. So that's not even included in the share price. So we will see the next 2-3 earnings. So you do own Nvidia on the hardware, but you do want to own some Salesforce or on the software side, because the likes of Snowflakes are way overpriced, and ServiceNow is just way overpriced. And the only one I found, CrowdStrike, is way overpriced, and the only ones I found which was in good range is Salesforce. Okay, so Salesforce is one that if I need some, I class this as mature growth stocks. If you're looking for mature growth stocks, Salesforce is the one that you should consider. Okay, so obviously you cannot buy huge now because it's over. But if Salesforce ever come down, that's right. And the other one is Meta. Yeah, I speak of Meta a lot. I don't own much Meta, but my kids do own Meta. Meta is one that the valuation is absolutely crazy, 14% growth rate, but the forecast on the Bloomberg terminal at Reventi is just absolutely crazy. Look, 2023 the EPS is 14, and now we expect in 28 to be 33. They expect Facebook to grow like Netflix back between 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's absolutely nuts. So Meta valuation, I put it 725. I believe they're still under 700 just now. Growth 15%. At one point they dropped to 12 and they're back to 15%. The buy trigger I've set at 465. Wait, that's not new. That's the old one. The new one is 560 and 766 on Meta. I do like that stock, but I don't own it on my growth portfolio. My kids own it because I have to choose one. Amazon, CRM, which has great buy trigger range compared to Meta. I've chose the other two rather than Meta. But this is a good stock to own if you're looking for some. I think they pay you 50 pence dividend still, and they look to buy back, mature growth. Okay, let's go on and see if 1 minute to go, guys. 1 minute to go. I'm just wondering, how is that share price looking? I'm sure there are loads of 4%. There's a bit of a, you can see there's a little bit of a bounce there. But let's go into the trading view and see if anything has changed. Okay, on the trading view, yeah, you guys will laugh at this. So I drew this W shape. Okay, you can see that black chart W shape. I drew that when it's round about here. I think it was at this death cross here, and I drew that. saying how low would it go. I think I let go of Nvidia then, so I drew this W curve, and I've not looked at AMD for quite a while until like last night or 2 nights ago, and I noticed it's following the trend. Obviously now it's overshot there because it could go lower, but I was very, very hopeful at that point that could be the bottom to go up. I was very, very hopeful. If that's the bottom, if it ever goes to the bottom, all it needs to do is creep up to that zone. This red line goes back up, this comes down, we will cross the golden point at some point, and then we will hover. But obviously that as it stands is not happening, folks. I was feeling hopeful. I'm still hopeful on what Lisa is going to say, so hopefully.
Greetings and welcome to the AMD fourth quarter and full year 2024 conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. A question and answer session will follow the formal presentation. If anyone should require operator assistance, please press star 0 on your telephone keypad. And as a reminder, this conference is being recorded. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Matt Ramsey, Vice President of Investor Relations. Thank you, Matt. You may begin.
Thank you, and welcome to AMD's fourth quarter and full year 2024 financial results conference call. By now, you should have had the opportunity to review a copy of our earnings press release and accompanying slides. If you have not had the chance to review these materials, they can be found on the Investor Relations page of AMD.com. We will refer primarily to non-GAAP financial measures during today's call. The full non-GAAP to GAAP reconciliations are available in today's press release and slides posted on our website. Participants in today's conference call are Dr. Lisa Su, our Chair and Chief Executive Officer, and Jean Hu, our Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer. This is a live call and will be replayed via webcast on our website. Before we begin, I would like to note that Jean Hu will attend the Morgan Stanley Global TMT Conference on Monday, March 3rd. Today's discussion contains forward-looking statements based on our current beliefs, assumptions, and expectations, speak only as of today, and as such involve risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. Please refer to the cautionary statements in our press release for more information on factors that could cause our actual results to differ materially. With that, I will hand the call over to Lisa. Lisa?
Thank you, Matt, and good afternoon to all those listening today. 2024 was a transformative year for AMD. We successfully established our multi-billion-dollar data center AI franchise, launched a broad set of leadership products, and gained significant server and PC market share. As a result, we delivered record annual revenue, grew net income 26% for the year, and more than doubled free cash flow from 2023. Importantly, the data center segment contributed roughly 50% of annual revenue as Instinct and EPYC processor adoption expanded significantly with cloud, enterprise, and supercomputing customers. Looking at our financial results, fourth quarter revenue increased 24% year over year to a record $7.7 billion, led by record quarterly data center and client segment revenue, both of which grew by a significant double-digit percentage. On a full-year basis, annual revenue grew 14% to $25.8 billion, as data center revenue nearly doubled and client segment revenue grew 52%, more than offsetting declines in our gaming and embedded segments. Turning to the segments, data center segment revenue increased 69% year over year to a record $3.9 billion. 2024 marked another major inflection point for our server business as share gains accelerated, driven by the ramp of 5th-gen EPYC Turin and strong double-digit percentage year-over-year growth in 4th-gen EPYC sales. In cloud, we exited 2024 with well over 50% share at the majority of our largest hyperscale customers. Hyperscaler demand for EPYC CPUs was very strong, driven by expanded deployments powering both their internal compute infrastructure and online services. Public cloud demand was also very strong, with the number of EPYC instances increasing 27% in 2024 to more than 1,000. AWS, Alibaba, Google, Microsoft, and Tencent launched more than 100 AMD general purpose and AI instances in the fourth quarter alone. This includes new Azure instances powered by a custom-built EPYC processor with HBM memory that delivers leadership HPC performance based on offering 8x higher memory bandwidth compared to competitive offerings. We also built significant momentum with Forbes 2000 global businesses using EPYC in the cloud, as enterprise customers activated more than double the number of EPYC cloud instances from the prior quarter. This capped off a strong year of growth as enterprise consumption of EPYC in the cloud nearly tripled from 2023. Turning to enterprise on-prem adoption, EPYC CPU sales grew by a strong double-digit percentage year over year as sell-through increased and we closed high-volume deployments with Akamai, Hitachi, LG, ServiceNow, Verizon, Visa, and others. We are seeing growing enterprise pull based on the expanding number of EPYC platforms available and our increased go-to-market investments. Exiting 2024, there are more than 450 EPYC platforms available from the leading server OEMs and ODMs, including more than 120 Turin platforms that went into production in the fourth quarter from Cisco, Dell, HPE, Lenovo, Supermicro, and others. Looking forward, Turin is clearly the best server processor in the world, with more than 540 performance records across a broad range of industry standard benchmarks. At the same time, we are seeing sustained demand for both 4th and 3rd gen EPYC processors, as our consistent roadmap execution has made AMD the dependable and safe choice. As a result, we see clear growth opportunities in 2025 across both cloud and enterprise based on our full portfolio of EPYC processors optimized for leadership performance across the entire range of data center workloads and system price points. Turning to our data center AI business, 2024 was an outstanding year as we accelerated our AI hardware roadmap to deliver an annual cadence of new Instinct accelerators, expanded our ROCm software suite with significant uplifts in inferencing and training performance, built strong customer relationships with key industry leaders, and delivered greater than $5 billion of data center AI revenue for the year. Looking at the fourth quarter, MI300X production deployments expanded with our largest cloud partners. Meta exclusively used MI300X to serve their Llama 405B frontier model on Meta.ai and added Instinct GPUs to its OCP-compliant Grand Teton platform designed for deep learning recommendation models and large-scale AI inferencing workloads. Microsoft is using MI300X to power multiple GPT-4-based Copilot services and launch flagship instances that scale up to thousands of GPUs for AI training and inference and HPC workloads. IBM, DigitalOcean, Vultr, and several other AI-focused CSPs have begun deploying AMD Instinct accelerators for new instances. IBM also announced plans to enable MI300X on their watsonx AI and data platform for training and deploying enterprise-ready generative AI applications. Instinct platforms are currently being deployed across more than a dozen CSPs globally, and we expect this number to grow in 2025. For enterprise customers, more than 25 MI300 series platforms are in production with the largest OEMs and ODMs. To simplify and accelerate enterprise adoption of AMD Instinct platforms, Dell began offering MI300X as a part of their AI Factory Solutions suite and is providing multiple ready-to-deploy containers via the Dell Enterprise Hub on Hugging Face. HPC adoption also grew in the quarter. AMD now powers 5 of the 10 fastest and 15 of the 25 most energy-efficient systems in the world on the latest Top 500 supercomputer list. Notably, the El Capitan system at Lawrence Livermore National Labs debuted as the world's fastest supercomputer, using over 44,000 MI300A APUs to deliver more than 1.7 exaflops. Earlier this month, the High Performance Computer Center at the University of Stuttgart launched the Hunter supercomputer that also uses MI300A. Like El Capitan, Hunter will be used for both foundational scientific research and advanced AI projects, including training LLMs in 24 different European languages. On the AI software front, we made significant progress across all layers of the ROCm stack in 2024. Our strategy is to establish AMD ROCm as the industry's leading open software stack for AI, providing developers with greater choice and accelerating the pace of industry innovation. More than 1 million models on Hugging Face now run out of the box on AMD, and our platforms are supported in the leading frameworks like PyTorch and JAX, serving solutions like VLLM, and compilers like OpenAI Triton. We have also successfully ramped large-scale production deployments with numerous customers using ROCm, including our lead hyperscale partners. We ended the year with the release of ROCm 6.3 that included multiple performance optimizations, including support for the latest flash attention algorithm that runs up to 3 times faster than prior versions, and SG-Lang runtime that enabled day zero support for state-of-the-art models like DeepSeek V3. As a result of these latest enhancements, MI300X inferencing performance has increased 2.7 times since launch. Looking forward, we're continuing to accelerate our software investments to improve the out-of-the-box experience for a growing number of customers adopting Instinct to power their diverse AI workloads. For example, in January, we began delivering bi-weekly container releases that provide more frequent performance and feature updates in ready-to-deploy packages, and we continue adding resources dedicated to the open source community that enable us to build, test, and launch new software enhancements at a faster pace. On the product front, we began volume production of MI325X in the fourth quarter. The production ramp is progressing very well to support new customer wins. MI325 is well positioned in market, delivering significant performance and TCO advantages compared to competitive offerings. We have also made significant progress with the number of customers adopting AMD Instinct. For example, we recently closed several large wins with MI300 and MI325 at Lighthouse AI customers that are deploying Instinct at scale across both their inferencing and training production environments for the first time. Looking ahead, our next generation MI350 series featuring our CDNA 4 architecture is looking very strong. CDNA 4 will deliver the biggest generational leap in AI performance in our history, with a 35x increase in AI compute performance compared to CDNA 3. The silicon has come up really well. We were running large-scale LLMs within 24 hours of receiving first silicon, and validation work is progressing ahead of schedule. The customer feedback on MI350 series has been strong, driving deeper and broader customer engagements with both existing and net new hyperscale customers in preparation for at-scale MI350 deployments. Based on early silicon progress and the strong customer interest in the MI350 series, we now plan to sample lead customers this quarter and are on track to accelerate production shipments to mid-year. As we look forward into our multi-year AMD Instinct roadmap, I'm excited to share that MI400 series development is also progressing very well. The CDNA Next architecture takes another major leap, enabling powerful rack-scale solutions that tightly integrate networking, CPU, and GPU capabilities at the silicon level to support Instinct solutions at data center scale. We designed CDNA Next to deliver leadership AI and HPC flops while expanding our memory capacity and bandwidth advantages and supporting an open ecosystem of scale-up and scale-out networking products. We are seeing strong customer interest in the MI400 series for large-scale training and inference deployments and remain on track to launch in 2026. Turning to our acquisition of ZT Systems, we passed key milestones in the quarter and received unconditional regulatory approvals in multiple jurisdictions, including Japan, Singapore, and Taiwan. Cloud and OEM customer response to the acquisition has been very positive, as ZT's systems expertise can accelerate time to market for future Instinct accelerator platforms. We have also received significant interest in ZT's manufacturing business. We expect to successfully divest ZT's industry-leading US-based data center infrastructure production capabilities shortly after we close the acquisition, which remains on track for the first half of the year. Turning to our client segment, revenue increased 58% year over year to a record $2.3 billion. We gained client revenue share for the fourth straight quarter, driven by significantly higher demand for both Ryzen desktop and mobile processors. We had record desktop channel sellout in the fourth quarter in multiple regions as Ryzen dominated the best-selling CPU lists at many retailers globally, exceeding 70% share at Amazon, Newegg, MindFactory, and numerous others over the holiday period. In mobile, we believe we had a record OEM PC sell-through share in the fourth quarter as Ryzen AI 300 series notebooks ramped. In addition to growing share with our existing PC partners, we were very excited to announce a new strategic collaboration with Dell that marks the first time they will offer a full portfolio of commercial PCs powered by Ryzen Pro processors. The initial wave of Ryzen-powered Dell commercial notebooks is planned to launch this spring, with the full portfolio ramping in the second half of the year as we focus on growing commercial PC share. At CES, we expanded our Ryzen portfolio with the launch of 22 new mobile processors that deliver leadership compute, graphics, and AI capabilities. Our Ryzen processor portfolio has never been stronger, with leadership compute performance across the stack. For AI PCs, we are the only provider that offers a complete portfolio of CPUs, enabling Windows Copilot Plus experiences on premium ultra-thin, commercial, gaming, and mainstream notebooks. Looking into 2025, we're planning for the PC TAM to grow by a mid-single-digit percentage year on year. Based on the breadth of our leadership client CPU portfolio and strong design win momentum, we believe we can grow client segment revenue well ahead of the market. Now turning to our gaming segment, revenue declined 59% year over year to $563 million. Semi-custom sales declined as expected as Microsoft and Sony focused on reducing channel inventory. Overall, this console generation has been very strong, highlighted by cumulative unit shipments surpassing 100 million in the fourth quarter. Looking forward, we believe channel inventories have now normalized, and semi-custom sales will return to more historical patterns in 2025. In gaming graphics, revenue declined year over year as we accelerated channel sellout in preparation for the launch of our next-gen Radeon 9000 series GPUs. Our focus with this generation is to address the highest volume portion of the enthusiast gaming market with our new RDNA 4 architecture. RDNA 4 delivers significantly better ray tracing performance and adds support for AI-powered upscaling technology that will bring high-quality 4K gaming to mainstream players when the first Radeon 9070 series GPUs go on sale in early March. Now turning to our embedded segment, fourth quarter revenue decreased 13% year over year to $923 million. The demand environment remains mixed, with the overall market recovering slower than expected as strength in aerospace and defense and test and emulation is offset by softness in the industrial and communication markets. We continued expanding our adaptive computing portfolio in the quarter with differentiated solutions for key markets. We launched our Versal RF series with industry-leading compute performance for aerospace and defense markets, introduced our Versal Premium Series Gen 2 as the industry's first adaptive compute devices supporting CXL 3.1 and PCI Gen 6, and began shipping our next-gen Alveo card with leadership performance for ultra-low latency trading. We believe we gained adaptive computing share in 2024 and are well positioned for ongoing share gains based on our design win momentum. We closed a record $14 billion of design wins in 2024, up more than 25% year over year, as customer adoption of our industry-leading adaptive computing platforms expands, and we won large new embedded processor designs. In summary, we ended 2024 with significant momentum, delivering record quarterly and full-year revenue. EPYC and Ryzen processor share gains grew throughout the year, and we are well positioned to continue outgrowing the market based on having the strongest CPU portfolio in our history. We established our multi-billion-dollar data center AI business and accelerated both our Instinct hardware and ROCm software roadmaps. For 2025, we expect the demand environment to strengthen across all of our businesses, driving strong growth in our data center and client businesses and modest increases in our gaming and embedded businesses. Against this backdrop, we believe we can deliver strong double-digit % revenue and EPS growth year over year. Looking further ahead, the recent announcements of significant AI infrastructure investments like Stargate and latest model breakthroughs from DeepSeek and the Allen Institute highlight the incredibly rapid pace of AI innovation across every layer of the stack, from silicon to algorithms to models, systems, and applications. These are exactly the types of advances we want to see as the industry invests in increased compute capacity while pushing the envelope on software innovation to make AI more accessible and enable breakthrough generative and agentic AI experiences that can run on virtually every digital device. All of these initiatives require massive amounts of new compute and create unprecedented growth opportunities for AMD across our businesses. AMD is the only provider with the breadth of products and software expertise needed to power AI from end to end across data center, edge, and client devices. We have made outstanding progress building the foundational product, technology, and customer relationships needed to capture a meaningful portion of this market. And we believe this places AMD on a steep long-term growth trajectory led by the rapid scaling of our data center AI franchise from more than $5 billion of revenue in 2024 to tens of billions of dollars of annual revenue over the coming years. Now I'd like to turn the call over to Jean to provide some additional color on our fourth quarter and full year results. Jean?
Thank you, Lisa, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll start with a review for our financial results and then provide our current outlook for the first quarter of fiscal 2025. AMD executed very well in 2024, delivering record revenue of $25.8 billion, up 14%, driven by 94% growth in our data center segment and 52% growth in our client segment, which more than offset headwinds in our gaming and embedded segments. We expanded gross margin by 300 basis points and achieved earnings per share growth of 25% while investing aggressively in AI to fuel our future growth. For the fourth quarter of 2024, revenue was a record $7.7 billion, growing 24% year over year, as strong revenue growth in the data center and the client segment was partially offset by lower revenue in our gaming and embedded segments. Revenue was up 12% sequentially, primarily driven by the growth of client, data center, and the gaming segments. Gross margin was 54%, up 330 basis points year over year due to a favorable shift in revenue mix with higher data center and client revenues, lower gaming revenue, partially offset by the impact of lower embedded revenues. Operating expenses were $2.1 billion, an increase of 23% year over year, as we invested in R&D and marketing activities to address our significant growth opportunities. Operating income was a record of $2 billion, representing 26% operating margin. Taxes, interest, and other was $249 million net expense. For the fourth quarter of 2024, diluted earnings per share was $1.09, an increase of 42% year over year, reflecting the significant operating leverage of our business model. Now turning to our reportable segment. Starting with the data center segment, revenue was a record of $3.9 billion, up 69% year over year, driven by strong growth of both AMD Instinct GPU and the fourth and the fifth generation AMD EPYC CPU sales. Data center segment operating income was $1.2 billion, or 30% of revenue, compared to $666 million, or 29% a year ago. Client segment revenue was a record of $2.3 billion, up 58% year over year, driven by strong demand for AMD Ryzen processors. Client segment operating income was $446 million, or 19% of revenue, compared to operating income of $55 million, or 4% of revenue a year ago, driven primarily by operating leverage from higher revenue. Gaming segment revenue was $563 million, down 59% year-over-year, primarily due to a decrease in semi-customer revenue. Gaming segment operating income was $50 million, or 9% of revenue, compared to $224 million, or 16% a year ago. Embedded segment revenue was $923 million, down 13% year-over-year as end market demand continues to be mixed. Embedded segment operating income was $362 million, or 39% of revenue, compared to $461 million, or 44% a year ago. Turning to the balance sheet and cash flow. During the quarter, we generated $1.3 billion in cash from operations and a record $1.1 billion for free cash flow. Inventory increases sequentially by $360 million to $5.7 billion. At the end of the quarter, cash equivalent, and short-term investment were $5.1 billion. In the fourth quarter, we repurchased 1.8 million shares and returned $256 million to shareholders. For the year, we repurchased 5.9 million shares and returned $862 million to shareholders. We have $4.7 billion remaining in our share repurchase authorization. Before I turn to our financial outlook, let me cover our financial segment reporting. Beginning with our first quarter fiscal year 2025 financial statement disclosures, we plan to combine the client and the gaming segment into one single reportable segment to align with how we manage the business. Therefore, reporting three segments: data center, client with gaming, and embedded. We'll continue to provide distinct revenue disclosures for our data center, client, gaming, and embedded businesses, consistent with our current reporting. Now turning to our first quarter of 2025 outlook. We expect revenue to be approximately $7.1 billion, plus or minus $300 million, up 30% year-over-year, driven by strong growth in our data center and the client businesses, more than offsetting a significant decline in our gaming business and a modest decline in our embedded business. We expect revenue to be down sequentially approximately 7%, driven primarily by seasonality across our businesses. In addition, we expect first quarter non-GAAP gross margin to be approximately 54%, non-GAAP operating expenses to be approximately $2.1 billion, non-GAAP other net income to be $24 million, non-GAAP effective tax rate to be 13%, and the diluted share count is expected to be approximately 1.64 billion shares. In closing, 2024 was a strong year for AMD, demonstrating our disciplined execution to deliver revenue growth and expand earnings at a faster rate than revenue, all while investing in AI and innovation to fuel long-term growth. Looking ahead, we will build on the momentum to drive double-digit percentage revenue growth and further accelerate earnings in 2025 and beyond. With that, I'll turn it back to Matt for the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Jean. We're now ready to start the Q&A session. As the operator polls for questions, we remind each participant to please ask one question and a brief follow-up. Operator, please poll for questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. We will now be conducting a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. A confirmation tone will indicate that your line is in the queue. You may press star 2 to remove yourself from the queue. For participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. And as a reminder, like Matt said, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Thank you. One moment while we poll for questions. And the first question comes from the line of Aaron Rakers with Wells Fargo. Please proceed.
Yeah, thanks for taking the question. I guess I'll just ask it right out of the gate. Is as we think about the GPU business, and I can appreciate you talked about, delivering north of $5 billion of revenue, which is extremely impressive in 2024. I'm curious how we should think about framing the GPU, the Instinct business as we think about 2025, and any kind of color you can provide us as far as kind of the progression of revenue, the pace of revenue first half versus second half as we think about some of the product cycle dynamics. Thank you.
Sure, Aaron. Thanks for the question. So first of all, look, we were very pleased with how we finished 2024 in terms of the data center GPU business. I think the ramp was steep as we went throughout the year, and the team executed well. Going into 2025, as I mentioned in the prepared remarks, we're actually very happy with the progress that we're making on both the hardware roadmaps and the software roadmaps. So on the hardware side, we launched 325 at the end of the fourth quarter, started shipments then. We have new designs that have come on both 300 and 325 that will deploy in the first half of the year. And then the big news is on the 350 series. So we had previously stated that we thought we would launch that in the second half of the year. And, frankly, that bring up has come up, better than we expected. And there's, very strong customer demand for that. So we are actually going to pull that production ramp into the middle of the year, which improves our relative competitiveness. So as it relates to, how data center, so the overall data center business will grow strong double digits. Certainly both the server product line as well as the data center GPU product line will grow strong double digits. And from the shape of the revenue, you would expect that the second half would be stronger than the first half, just given 350 will be a catalyst for the data center GPU business. But overall, I think we're very pleased with the trajectory of the data center business in both 2024 and then going into full year 2025.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as a quick follow-up, just thinking about the guidance overall relative to that down 7% sequential. I know you mentioned seasonality across the business segments. Are you assuming that you're down sequentially in data center in total in 1Q, and how do I frame that relative to seasonality? Thank you.
Yeah, sure, Aaron. So let me give you some more color on the Q1 guide. So Q1 guide was down 7% sequentially, as Jean mentioned. And the way that breaks out in each of the segments, assume that data center would be down just about that average, so the corporate average. We would expect the client business and the embedded business to be down more than that, just given where seasonality is for those businesses. And then we would expect, gaming business will be down a little less than that. And that's a little atypical from a seasonality standpoint, but we're coming off of a year when there was a lot of, let's call it, inventory normalization. And now that inventory has normalized, we would expect that that would be down a little bit less than the corporate average.
And the next question comes from the line of Timothy Arcuri with UBS. Please proceed with your question.
Thanks a lot. I wanted to ask about the server CPU business. Jean, I think you have said in the past that core count is going to grow mid to high teens, and as long as your competitor is not super aggressive on pricing, that your business should grow roughly that much as well. Are you expecting, or are you already seeing them become a little more aggressive on pricing as they attempt to shore up their share? It sounds like they're getting a bit more aggressive on pricing. So, wondering if you still think that the server CPU business can grow in line with that core count of mid to high teens.
Yeah, first, we always assume server CPU is a very competitive market, but we currently have the best lineup of portfolio from not only Turin generation, but Gen 1, and then even Milan. We provide the best TCO for our customers based on the product portfolio. So overall, we are actually quite confident about continue to drive the server CPU business, not only growing from a unit perspective, ASP perspective, and continue to gain share.
Thanks a lot. And then, Jean, can you just give us a sense of where data center GPU came in for December? I'm thinking it's probably in the $2 billion range. And then is it assumed to be down, flat, or up? Would you be willing to give a number for March? Thanks.
Yeah, I think the way to look at our Q4 performance is our data center business overall did really well. it actually is consistent with our expectations. Of course, when we look at the server and the data center GPU, server did better than data center GPU, but overall, it's very consistent with our performance.
Yeah, maybe I'll just add on, Tim, on your question as to what you would expect as we go into 2025. I think you should assume that the first half of 2025 data center segment will be consistent with the second half of 24, and that's true for both businesses on the server side as well as the data center GPU side.
And the next question comes from the line of Vivek Arya with Bank of America Securities. Please proceed with your question.
Thanks for taking my question. Lisa, a few questions on the data center GPU business. I think last year, AMD was very explicit about, setting and beating or meeting expectations. This year, you have not set a specific forecast, and I'm curious what has changed. And then if I go back to your analyst day in December, I think at that time you had set a long-term 60% CAGR. Is it fair to assume that you can grow at that for 25, right, or versus the $5 billion plus that you did last year? So just contrast the 2 years and then whether AMD can grow at that 60% trend line.
Sure. So Vivek, thanks for the question. I think what we look at is, certainly for the first year of the data center GPU business, we wanted to give, some clear progression as it was going. The business is now at scale, actually now at, over $5 billion. And as we go into 2025, I think our guidance will be more at the segment level with some color as to, some qualitative color as to what's going on between the two businesses. And relative to, your question about, long-term growth rates, you're absolutely right. I mean, I believe that the demand for AI compute is strong, and we've talked about a data center accelerator TAM, upwards of $500 billion by the time we get out to 2028. I think all of the recent data points would suggest that there is strong demand out there. Without guiding for a specific number in 2025, one of the comments that we made is, we see this business growing to tens of billions as we go through the next couple of years. And that gives you a view of the confidence that we have in the business. And particularly, our roadmap is getting stronger with each generation, right? So MI300 was a great start. 350 series is stronger and addresses a broader set of workloads, including both inference as well as training. And then as we get into MI400 series, we see significant traction and excitement around what we can do there with, rack scale designs and, just the innovation that's going on there. So yeah, we're bullish on the long term, and, we'll certainly give you progress as we go through each quarter in 2025.
Thank you, Lisa. And for my follow-up, I would love your perspective on, the news from DeepSeek recently, right? And there are kind of two parts to that. One is, once you heard the news, do you think that should make us, more confident or more conservative about the semiconductor opportunity going forward? Like, is there something so disruptive in what they have done that reduces the overall market opportunity? And then within that, have your views about GPU versus ASIC, how that share develops over the next few years, have those evolved in any way at all? Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the question, Vivek. Yeah, I think, it's been a pretty exciting first few weeks of the year. I think the DeepSeek announcements, Allen Institute, as well as, some of the Stargate announcements, talk about just how much, how the rate and pace of innovation that's happening in the AI world. So specifically relative to DeepSeek, look, we think that, innovation on the models and the algorithms is good for AI adoption. The fact that, there are new ways to, bring about, training and inference capabilities with less infrastructure actually is a good thing because it allows us to continue to deploy AI compute in broader application space and more adoption. I think from our standpoint, we also like very much the fact that we're big believers in open source, and from that standpoint, having open source models, looking at the rate and pace of adoption there, I think is pretty amazing, and that is how we expect things to go. So to the overall question of how should we feel about it? I mean, we feel bullish about the overall cycle, and similarly on some of the infrastructure investments that were announced with OpenAI and Stargate, and building out, let's call it, massive infrastructure for next generation AI. I think all of those say that AI is certainly on the very steep part of the curve, and as a result, we should expect a lot more innovation. And then on the ASIC point, let me address that, because I think that is also a place where there's a good amount of discussion. I have always been a believer in you need the right compute for the right workload. And so with AI, given the diversity of workloads, large models, medium models, small models, training, inference, when you're talking about broad foundational models or very specific models, you're going to need all types of compute. And that includes CPUs, GPUs, ASICs, and FPGAs. Relative to our 500 billion plus TAM going out in time, we've always had ASICs as a piece of that. But my belief is, given how much change there is still going on in AI algorithms, that ASICs will still be the smaller part of that TAM because it is a more, let's call it specific workload optimized, whereas GPUs will enable significant programmability and adjustments to all of these algorithm changes. But when I look at the AMD portfolio, it really is across all of those pieces. So CPUs, GPUs, and we're also involved in a number of ASIC conversations, as well as customers want to really have an overall compute partner.
And the next question comes from the line of Joshua Buchalter with TD Cowen. Please proceed with your question.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my question. Obviously, it was good to see MI355X pulled into mid-year, but I wanted to clarify. You said first half 25 data center GPU likely consistent with second half 24, and I was wondering if you could speak to whether or not the shape of the first half changed over the last few months and is potentially related to this pulled-in timeline. It could be a potential air pocket ahead of that launch, or if this was sort of consistent with how you saw things playing out as MI350 and 325X ramped more fully. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Joshua. No, I would say, from our standpoint, we've gotten incrementally, more positive on the 2025 data center GPU ramp. I think, 350 series, what was in second half always, but pulling it into mid-year is a incremental positive. And from a first half, second half statement, as I mentioned, we have some new important AI design wins that are going to be deployed with 300 and 325 in the first half of the year. But with 350 series, we end up with more content. I mean, it's a more powerful GPU. ASPs go up, and you would expect larger deployments that include training and inference in that time frame. So the shape is similar to what we would have expected before.
Thank you. And believe it or not, I'm going to ask a question on client. Obviously, the growth number in the fourth quarter, was certainly higher than our model. Could you clarify the drivers of the strength across desktop, notebook, and enterprise, and how we should think about 1Q and in particular, to put it bluntly? Are you worried at all about inventory buildup, given how much your client revenue has outperformed the broader PC market in the second half of the year? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Our client business performed really well throughout 2024, and Q4 was a very strong quarter. There are a couple of reasons for that, so we should go through that. We don't believe there's some substantial inventory buildup. We actually think that what we're seeing is very strong adoption of our new products. So on the desktop side, we saw our highest sellout in many years. As we went through the holiday season, launching our new gaming CPUs, frankly, they have been constrained in the market, and we've continued shipping very strongly, through the month of January as, we're catching up with some demand there. So desktop business was very strong. And on the notebook side, we also saw a number of our OEM partners launching new AI PCs with, the slew of new mobile part numbers that we announced at CES. We have our strongest, PC portfolio on the mobile side with, top to bottom, Copilot Plus PC compatible products, and those are playing very well into the market. So I think Q4 was strong. I know that there was some commentary about whether there were pull-ins relative to tariffs. We didn't see that in the fourth quarter. I think, as I said, we saw strong sellout. Going into the first quarter, we do expect seasonality in there, but the part of our business that is performing better than seasonality is the desktop portion of the business, and the mobile portion of the business is let's call it more typical seasonality. But overall, I think we're very bullish on our prospects to grow client in 2025, just given all of the drivers from product portfolio to some of the market dynamics, as well as our new commercial PCs portfolio.
And the next question comes from the line of Harlan Sur with JP Morgan. Please proceed with your question.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. For the fourth quarter, did your overall server CPU business grow double digits sequentially? And maybe as a follow-on to that, I think Q4 was the sixth consecutive quarter of double-digit year-over-year increases for your on-prem server solutions. On a sequential basis, I know you guys did start to see recovery in enterprise in the second quarter of last year. I think it was strongly up sequentially in the third quarter, pretty broad base. Did enterprise servers grow sequentially in Q4? And Lisa, how do you see the share prospects in this segment as you step into 2025?
Yeah, Harlan, thanks for the question. So I think, as Jean mentioned earlier, so in the fourth quarter, we did see a sequential double-digit growth in our server business. We saw that in both cloud and enterprise. I think the server business has been performing extremely well. We're continuing to grow our cloud footprint with more workloads as we have the strength of the Turin portfolio, in addition to Genoa and Milan. And then to your question on enterprise, I do believe we're seeing some strong traction in the enterprise. I think what's helping us there is, frankly, we've invested a lot more in go-to-market, and the go-to-market investments are paying off. The enterprise sales cycle is often a 6 to 9 month sales cycle, but as we've invested more resources in it throughout 2024, we've seen that convert into a significant number of new POCs that are now converting into volume deployments. And as we go through into 2025, from a competitiveness standpoint, we have a very strong portfolio across every price point, every core count, every workload. So I think we see a strong 2025 for server CPUs.
I appreciate that. Networking is a very critical part of the AI infrastructure, becoming even more important. There seems to be this misconception that AMD is behind the curve here, yet you're keeping pace, kind of leveraging the incumbent Ethernet technology, strong installed ecosystem. You guys are spearheading the Ultranet Ethernet Consortium. You've got your Infinity Fabric technology for scale-up connectivity. So as you continue to drive customer adoption of your overall AI platforms, what's the feedback been like on your AI networking architectures, and any networking-related innovations the team's going to be bringing to the market this year?
Yeah, thanks, Harlan, for that question. No question, networking is an extremely important part of the AI solution, and it's an area that we have been investing and spending quite a bit of effort with our customers and our partners jointly. The way to think about it is that our networking proof points are actually increasing as we're going from MI300 to MI325 to MI350 to MI400. So in each of those points, we're increasing the number of proof points. I think people want to see more clusters of ours. Certainly on inference, we've shown great performance and total cost of ownership. We are now also have a number of training systems that we are putting on board, and the important part there is the networking. We have worked very closely with our partners on Ethernet. We believe that this is the right technology for the future. In addition to third-party networking solutions, we're also, with our Pensando team, developing our own in-house AI NIC that Forrest mentioned at our Q4 Advancing AI event. And as we look forward, working with our customers, we are actually standing up, full rack solutions at both the 350 level as well as in the MI400 series. So I think the net of it is, we believe that yes, it is absolutely very important, and in addition to all of the hardware and software work, the system level scaling is super important, and we are on track to deliver that with our roadmap.
And the next question comes from the line of Blayne Curtis with Jefferies. Please proceed with your question.
Hey, thanks for taking my question. Lisa, I just want to follow up the data center GPU business, obviously up very strongly year over year, but it seems for your commentary, the sequential growth kind of slows for the next kind of 3 quarters. So I just want to understand the why. Obviously, you have some new products coming, so maybe it's just the shift to the new products. I also want to just ping your brain on, in terms of when you look at the ASIC storylines, there tends to be a kind of a shift to focus on training versus inference. So just your perspective, I know a lot of your workloads initially were inference. Are you seeing any shift in terms of the demand from your customers between training and inference as well?
Yeah, sure, Blayne. Look, the way I would say it is, we saw a tremendous growth as we built up the data center GPU business throughout 2024. So I think what we're seeing is, we're continuing to do new deployments. We're continuing to bring on new customers. Clearly, we are going through a little bit of a product transition time frame, in the first half of the year, but the key is, bringing in the MI350 series was very, very important for us and, for the customer set. So the fact that that hardware has come on clean and we've learned a lot from the initial deployments of MI300, I think is very positive. And this is, as we might expect, given the, the overall landscape of deployments. And then, to the second part of your question, as it relates to ASICs, I really haven't seen a big shift at all in the conversation. I will say that the conversation as it relates to AMD is kind of the following. People like the work that we've done in inference, but certainly our customers want to see us as a training, as a strong training solution, and that's consistent with what we've said, right? We've said that we have like a stepwise, roadmap to really show each one of those solutions. On the software side, we've invested significantly more in some of those, sort of the training libraries. We talked, Harlan's question earlier about networking, and then this is about, just getting into data centers and ramping up tens of thousands of GPUs. So, from my standpoint, I think we're making very good progress there. I just want to reiterate on the ASIC side. Look, I think ASICs are a part of the solution, but they're, I want to remind everyone they're also a very strong part of the AMD, sort of toolbox. So, we've done, semi-custom solutions for a long time. We are very involved in, a number of ASIC discussions with our customers as well. And what they like to do is they'd like to take our baseline IP and really innovate on top of that. And that's what I think differentiates our capability, is that we do have all of the building blocks of CPUs, GPUs, as well as all of the networking technologies that you would need to put the solutions together.
Thank you.
Hey, operator, I think we have time for 2 more callers, please.
Okay. The next question comes from the line of Stacy Rasgon with Bernstein Research. Please proceed.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my questions. I want to ask this a little more explicitly. So you said your server business was up strong double digits sequentially in Q4. My math suggests that could have even meant that the GPU business was down sequentially. And given your guidance for, I guess, flattish GPUs in the first half of 25 versus second half of 24, again, does the math not suggest that you'd be down sequentially both in Q1 and in Q2? To fit, like, am I doing something wrong with my math, or like what am I missing here?
Yeah, perhaps, Stacy. Maybe let me help give you a little bit of color there. I don't think we said strong double digits. I think we said double digits. So that perhaps is the data. So data center segment was up 9% sequentially. Server was a bit more than that. data center GPU was a little less than that. I think, for some of the models that are out there, you might be a little bit light in the Q3 data center GPU number. So, there might be some adjustments that need to be done there. But I think your suggestion would be incorrect. If you just take the halves, second half 24 to first half 25, let's call it, roughly, flattish plus or minus. I mean, we'll have to see exactly how it goes, but it is, going to be a little bit dependent on, just when deployments happen. But that's kind of currently what we see.
Got it. Thanks. And I guess for my follow-up, maybe the follow-on there, do you think your exit rate on GPUs in 25 is higher than your exit rate in 24? Are you willing to commit to that?
Absolutely. Yes, of course. It would be hard to grow strong double digits otherwise, right?
And the final question comes from the line of Toshiya Hari with Goldman Sachs. Please proceed with your question.
Hi, thank you so much for squeezing me in. Lisa, I had a question on the server CPU business. I'm curious how, you're thinking about the market this year, and if you can delineate between cloud and enterprise, that would be really helpful. And then kind of part B to that question, in your prepared remarks, you talked about, you all having more than 50% share across the major hyperscalers. How would you characterize the competitive intensity at those customers vis-a-vis some of the internal custom silicon that's expected to ramp over the coming quarters and years?
Sure, Toshiya. So let me say, as we look into 2025, I think we see a good server market between cloud and enterprise. I think as we went into sort of the early part of 24, there was a little bit of, let's call it, less investment on the CPU side as people were optimizing investments for AI. We saw that sort of pick up in the second half of the year in 24, and we would expect that to go into 25. So the enterprise refresh cycles are coming in again, and certainly there are a number of cloud vendors that are now, let's call it, re-updating some of their data centers. And then your second question was as it relates to what was
the competitive
competitive
landscape?
intensity, sorry.
Yeah, with custom silicon. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think it's about the same. What I would say, Toshiya, is it's less about custom silicon versus x86. It's much more about, do you have the right product for the right workload? And look, the server market's always a competitive market. What we've done, and you've seen it in our Zen 4 product line as well as in our Zen 5 product line, we've expanded the design points for each of the core generations, so that we have cloud native, and then we have enterprise optimized, low core count, high core count, highest performance, best perf per dollar. And I think as we do those things, I think we are continuing to grow share across both cloud and enterprise. And look, it's always very competitive. We take every design win with very seriously, but we're winning our fair share, and I think that's the strength of the product portfolio. And also, I think there's a good amount of trust for our delivery capability as we've built up our our franchise over the last number of years.
That's great. Thank you. And then as a quick follow-up, maybe one for Jean. So you're guiding gross margin to 54% in the first quarter. I'm curious what some of the major puts and takes are, and the things that we should be cognizant of going into Q2 and, more importantly, the second half. Given your data center commentary skewed more to the second half, I would expect margins to improve in the second half. But yeah, if you can kind of run through the pluses and minuses, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. You're right. Our gross margin is primarily driven by our revenue mix. I think when you look into 2025 Q1 guide, not only data center continue to grow significantly year over year, at the same time, client business is also growing year over year. So overall, the revenue mix is quite consistent with the Q4. So the gross margin guide is 54. I think for the first half, if the revenue mix is at this level, we do feel the gross margin will be consistent with the 54. But going into second half, we do believe the data center is our faster growth driver for the company, and that will drive the gross margin to step up in second half.
All right, with that, I think we are ready to close the call now, operator. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that listened in and participated today and for your interest in AMD. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude today's teleconference. We thank you for your participation. You may disconnect your lines at this time.
Hey, I guess that's the end of the call. So what do you guys think? I've been reading the comments from most of you, and I must say that yeah, I suppose a few questions that people are wondering why. Number one, why is the share price dropping? Is it that bad? Where's the critical point? And number two, what I would like to address is I think I could feel that Lisa got really exhausted at the end of the question session. I mean, the whole presentation thing was just really reading off the script, but there was a huge exhaustion, and you could feel two things from the questions here. One, they were banging on about the data center decline in the first half. Even though she tried to save it and she repeated, nobody wants to listen on, yet second half will be better. That didn't help. And number two, I noticed that when she stumbled on the words, folks were trying to help her. The folks were trying to ask a second question to savior the situation. The question, the people who were questioning, they were trying to help her. Quite a few of them. But okay, no, back to the question, guys. I mean, why is it dropping? I think looking at the charts just now, I know we all focus on the share price, and you know, if this gets worse tomorrow, it might drop 15%. But you know, I'm not here to tell the crystal ball. The reason why for the drop is over the years, seasonality. That's the word. The AMD goes on season because the GPU cards, Christmas comes like Amazon, yeah. Apple, Christmas comes, they'll spike in Christmas, and Q1 they will drop because nobody shops in Q1. But because you moved on to the data center segment, you need to go up every single quarter. Guess what? Who does that? Jensen Huang and Nvidia. Every single quarter they move up. They keep beating themselves, so they go on like a step ladder upwards. For some reason, AMD, and I think Lisa shot herself on the foot saying that, oh wait, it's seasonality and Q1 tends to come down, and it'll be better at second half of the year, but overall at the end of 2025 we'll be better than 2024. But that's not not what the analyst wants to hear. The analyst wants to see that step ladder come up. So from 7.5 billion, 7.6 billion, 7.7 billion in Q4, and a step down to 7.1 is not good enough. I mean, the outlook was 6.6, and now they moved up. It looks like, oh, we made an improvement, but no, that's not what they want to see. They want to see that step up and then that step up. So that was not what. So it's completely opposite. So I'm expecting downgrades tomorrow based on that, because I think the worry, one of the questions that came from I don't think it's Bank of America, but the one after Bank of America, a gentleman asked us saying, could you is there an inclination that if you don't hit your second half as expected, could your outlook for 2025 drop lower than 2024? And she just laughed and go, no, of course we're expecting 25 to be higher. But again, she shot herself on the foot, claiming that Q1 is not going to be great. And somebody asked, how about Q2? And she said Q2 is going to be flattish. So that didn't help. That didn't help. So I'm looking at the comments just now. Sean is saying, watching AMD to give more conviction in Nvidia. Yeah, especially when you're on a 1-to-1. Yeah, when you're on a 1-to-1 ratio. Just now, 118 and 118. It looks like Nvidia is the winner. Yeah. So the other concern was, I think someone prodded the question saying, are you seeing a data center decline? Okay, fine. You're telling us that the gaming is coming down, the client sector is coming down, but your numbers dropped by about 600 million. So is the data? Are you suggesting your data center is coming down? Are you suggesting that your MI300, MI325X is your orders are declining? That's the big reason why, summarize it in five words. That's the reason why the share price is coming down now. So the only way, I think the question that posed by like I'm trying to read here is like, what can bring AMD up? The only way she can turn around is she gets more orders. Literally, she gets more orders. The only savior is, not two bad news here. Like Google and Facebook are saying custom chip PC, AVGO is going up. We can't get all the Blackwells, but custom chip PC. But people are not going, oh, we can't get Blackwell, let's get MI325. People are not going that way. People are going to custom chip PC, which is Broadcom. So that's shooting one on the foot. And number two, the thing with AMD, Lisa announced, or was it Colette that announced that, no, Jean, not Colette. Colette is NVIDIA's CFO. What she said was they're going to combine the client PC and gaming. Yep. So if you see this one, if you see the chart, if you see this thing here, so right at the beginning of the chart, you can see, this is the two, this is the 4-bit that they announced, the embedded, the gaming, the client, and data center. So they're combining, I believe they're combining these two. They're combining the client and gaming at the same time. They're comboing two. So what it suggests is like gaming is going down, man. Gaming is not going to recover. So there's no point every year saying gaming is declining by 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. They're combining this portion just now. They're going to leave embedded alone. Hopeful embedded will come back up to above 1 billion. And data center really needs to carry the load of the other losers out there. So it's not, it's really not helping the whole landscape here. In terms of share price, stock price, we have to wait tomorrow. If we generally believe that there's going to be a downgrade, we have to see, because we know there have been downgrades coming through already. Or it could be an overreaction, Musty 06 thinks that it could be an overreaction, because he's right. I think where he's coming from, Musty, is we've seen before that, I can't remember what quarter, we've seen share price drop 6-10%. They dropped pretty bad, and within 3 days it recovered and bounced back up. I've seen it before. But with Lisa's the way she answered question didn't help either. But it's actually very nice of some of the folks that because she started stumbling. It's a lot of and it's not the Lisa we know today. Maybe she had the iPad looking at the share price. I don't know. And some of the guys actually came back and asked her, focus more on the second half, saying, "Oh, tell them more about the second half," and help her pull herself back out of it. Even at the last question, I think when Jean came in and answered the question instead of Lisa, there was I think somebody put Lisa out of the chair or something. Yeah, so this is where we are. But on the other news, I noticed I'm umming a lot as well. Google has dropped, so I don't know what the news there is. Google has dropped 7%. AMD has dropped almost 10% now. It's getting worse now. Well, I suppose people are being downgraded and people are starting to sell even more. Just now, I'm not sure what happened on Google, but it looks like there might be a sales day tomorrow on their stocks. But who will be buying? I think that's the big question. So I can understand why now, when I was doing the segment review just now, I was, this 7.1, I said, hey, actually, it's actually not too bad. We're actually above 6.6 to 7.1. But this was based on seasonality, where you were selling graphics card as your main driver, your client PC as your main driver. But now you've shifted the landscape to more than 5 billion data center, and you need to demonstrate that your data center is booming and growing. But now you're telling me you've got the best MI325X and MI300, but you're not selling them. Maybe that's why AVGO has gone up. AVGO stock. Look, AVGO is roaring. I mean, what news are we talking about? Telecom stocks to add AVGO. See? Is this really suggesting that the alternative to NVIDIA Blackwell, if you can't get one, or if the ones you got are overheated, you go your custom TPU chip? Is this the whole DeepSeek and saga where, hey, we don't really need to run 691 billion parameters now. I mean, working with the 128 billion parameters or the 80, 90 billion parameters Llama 2.3, it's good enough. Custom chips can do the show. Why spend too much? Maybe that's where we're coming from. The whole DeepSeek thing is starting to sip into the AMD earnings, so which is not good. Not good, guys. Not good. Okay, this is it, I guess, for me. I will need to go and digest it a bit further, have a bit of think. I'm sure all of you are going to be doing the same, reading everybody's point of view, because that's the whole point about investing, is it? The great thing about investing, we're allowed to read other people's opinion and to digest it and see where we'll go from there. Okay, I'm reading the last few comments. Rijiko, they're putting the GPUs in laptops, APU. Don't think they indicate the same sales gaming. Yeah, exactly. I mean, at some point, someone was saying in APU they were going to start developing like mobile phones. I mean, we're all stuck in the whole Apple and Android, Samsung ecosystem. Gaming handheld. Even Sony are hesitant to release the next handheld console. So where are we going with all this APU? How much graphics do we need from your mobile phone? I'm using the 12 Pro still, and it's still working great. All I need is more colors. That's it. And yeah, I think that's me. Everything was good until Lisa came out with low confidence. Yeah, I agree with you, Kantrap. I really agree. I think she stumbled herself, not like her usual self after listening for so many years. Okay, guys. Good night. What to do? I'm still thinking here myself. I need to go back to the club members and speak to them as well, and give them a bit of highlight. And yeah, I'm sure we will have a think. Let's sleep on it. The futures doesn't tell us everything. See what the outcome is. And as long as Jim Cramer feels negative about it, it might be a fighting chance. But for now, we are where we are, and we have to look at the reality of things. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. It's my first time live. I apologize for the sounding error, which I noticed using OBS first time, but we get better over time. Thank you.